Ready? 5 seconds. I am pleased to inaugurate the Conference of Education Ministers and Education Secretaries. Very important issues concerning education will be discussed and deliberated upon here by both the central and the state governments in the spirit of partnership and democratic federalism. Human resource development is the most critical area in nation building. After all, national development depends on having educated citizens, rural development, health and nutrition, social justice, sustained economic growth. I could go on adding to this list of national tasks where education is the common denominator. At the turn of the century, Swami Vivekananda had diagnosed the ills that plague our society and had said a nation is advanced in proportion as education and intelligence spread among the masses. If we are to rise again, we shall have to do it by spreading education among the masses. Educate and raise the standard of the masses, and thus alone the national revival is possible. After independence, India has posted significant achievement in education. Yet our efforts have fallen short of what nation building demands. Professor Amartya Sen, this year's Nobel Prize winner in economics, says that governments in developing countries, including ours, have intervened a lot to solve problems in the economic and business sectors. However, they have not intervened enough in the social sectors of health and education. This is a valid criticism. To remedy this imbalance is our collective task. The center and the states must reform their commitment to the social sector, especially education. You will agree with me that what needs most attention is primary education. It is the base of everything. Primary education is the most neglected area in the entire education system. We must restore primacy to primary education in our education policy and planning. Primary education needs more money, yes, more money to build and maintain proper school building, equip them with books and blackboards and other instruments of teaching, and money also to convert single teacher schools to multiple teacher schools. Money is always scarce. A large part of the education budget goes to pay teachers' salaries. With the recent increases in their pay, there will be even less money for the other equally important items. We therefore need to look at other sources of funding. Private enterprise is now enter professional education. Can we not come up with innovative ways that attract people to contribute to primary schools? More than money, primary education needs better administrative and managerial skills, and of course a far stronger political will. It is said that this most important area of nation building does not attract the best and the brightest administrators. Other departments are considered more glamorous. Primary education is often not the first choice of those who are assigned there. This must change. The most important thing that we can do to improve primary education is to ensure that the best administrators are applying their minds to improve the primary education system. I have some other thoughts that I would like to share with you on the subject. While governments have done a lot to improve teachers' salaries, they have neglected the task of improving their working and teaching environment. Teachers' views are often ignored or not even sought in education planning. The bureaucrats in the education department have an upper hand and often boss over teachers and principals. This is wrong. All those associated with education should understand that a good teacher does not look for a good environment where he feels that he is valued and has a say in the running of this institution. The quality of municipal and other government schools is inferior to that of private schools. One reason, of course, is that richer parents pay for and then demand better service from private schools. In government run schools where the parents are too poor and themselves uneducated, they cannot demand better. Poor and themselves uneducated, they cannot demand better service. This places a bigger responsibility on us to run our schools better in the absence of parental demand. Can we face up to that responsibility? How do we make parents and communities more responsive about the school in their midst? This is one of the great challenge before the education sector. If we want the villagers to consider the school to be theirs, then they must have a scene of responsibility and ownership. Here I must have a suggestion. Education is a state subject. Here I have a suggestion. Education is a state subject. The 73rd and 74th amendments have decentralized powers to the panchayats and municipalities. In this spirit of decentralization, I propose that we transfer administrative control over village school to panchayat, mandal panchayat and the Jila Parishad. Thus, teachers' qualification and salaries and the syllabus can still be set by the state government, but let the panchayat bodies manage the primary schools. Funds for this can be transferred to the reasons why developed countries have become so is their support universities and technical institutions in their country. I am pleased to inaugurate this conference of education ministers and education secretaries. Very important issue concerning education will be discussed and deliberated upon here by both the central and the state governments in the spirit of partnership and democratic federalism. Human resource development is the most critical area in nation. After all, national development depends on having educated citizens. Rural development, health and nutrition, social justice, sustained economic growth. I could go on adding to this denominator. At the turn of the century, Swami Vivekananda had diagnosed the ills that plague our society and had said a nation is advanced in proportions education and intelligence, a nation spread among the mass. If we are to rise again, we shall have to do it by spreading education among the masses.